Today, we're gonna whip up a batch of my high protein Christmas cookies. I can't wait to show you how to make it. Let's go. Hi, I'm Alexis, sports dietitian, nutrition coach. Welcome again to one of my recipe videos. Great to have you here. And honestly, welcome to my channel. So as I said at the start, today I'm gonna whip up a batch of protein cookies and we're gonna be making it a bit more Christmassy by adding some color. So when I say Christmas cookies, that's what I mean. It's gonna be cookies that you can enjoy at Christmas time because they just look Christmassy. So they're gonna be high protein, somewhat lower calorie than traditional cookies, but they're still gonna be something that you can enjoy amongst all your other normal treats. So I guess I should preface this by saying that I'm not saying that you can't enjoy your typical cookies. Go enjoy all the normal cookies that you want this Christmas. It's more so if you want to add something different to the mix, maybe alternate with something more macro friendly and then something more indulgent, well, this recipe has got you covered.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
So anyway, without further ado, let's actually show you the ingredients. I'll show you how to make this. And honestly, it's more simple than you think. So let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see, this is all the ingredients you'll need for this recipe. So I'm starting here with some smooth peanut butter. I mean, you could probably use crunchy if you wanted to, but smooth works way better. We've got one packet of these mini M&Ms, hence the color, hence for Christmas time. Now, obviously you can get also the M&Ms that are just red and green for Christmas time. I just got these ones. It's up to you which one you use, but it's about 35 grams worth. So about 3 tablespoons. We're going to be using 1 sachet of the protein powder, the vanilla protein powder. I'm using the casein protein today because I've heard that it actually cooks better, like bakes better than other proteins. Now, I typically don't use the casein. I use a blend, but I'm going to try using the casein today and see how it comes out. I'm sure it's going to come out just as well, but just use some kind of casein or kind of combination protein that's vanilla flavored. Whey works well, just as this is a whey-based protein. But I'm just using 1 sachet of it, but you can honestly just use 1 scoop. It's all the same, about 35 to 40 grams. Then we're going to be using some stevia, okay, some alternative sweetener. You can use different ones. You can use the brown sugar one. You can use just this one, doesn't really matter. We're going to use about 50 grams of this, or about 1/4 cup. And we've got some coconut flour. You can't see it there because I've got a peg on it, old school style. But basically that is the coconut flour. I'm going to be using about 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. Not too much, it's a very unique flour, so you've got to be careful with how you use it. Got some vanilla extract, okay, about 1/2 teaspoon of that. 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, you know, classic, but you don't want to overdo this because then it'll puff up and go, and that's not what you want. And a little tiny bit, about 1/4 teaspoon of a little bit of table salt. And then, of course, we can't forget, we're going to be using 2 eggs. Now, it's really just 1 whole egg and then 1 egg yolk, but I just want to show you here. I'm going to separate the yolk separately. You don't need to watch me separate the yolk. But yeah, roughly 2 eggs. So that's your ingredients, okay? That's the ingredients we need to make this batch of high-protein Christmas cookies. So let's get into it. Now, before we get into it, I just want to show you a few other utensils you may need. All you need is a mixing bowl, a mixing spoon, a cookie scooper, although you can just use a spoon if you want. But I bought this fancy thing, so I'm going to be using this. It's pretty fun. And then we obviously just need a cooling rack. Okay, just one of these cooling racks. And that's all you really need. Obviously, you need a tray to bake it on, but oh, come on. I didn't need to show you the tray to bake it on. We know that that's how cookies are made. So yeah, that's all you'll need. Okay, so we're ready. All we need is grab a scale. Okay, I did forget to say that. You do need a scale because you will need to measure some of these foods. Okay, I'm going to close it off like that. Now, what we're going to do first is we're just going to put the eggs in there, okay? Got the egg yolk, the egg white separated. As you can see, a little tiny bit of egg yolk. I did stuff up a little bit, but it's not going to hurt it, okay? We could probably have used 2 whole eggs and it'll be perfectly fine, okay? So put that in there. This part is not what you're measuring. I'm just putting it on the scale for the sake of putting on the scale for now. Okay, put that aside. Maybe could have whisked up the egg, but doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter, okay? So then we're going to be using a little bit of this. Okay, so we're going to put 1/2 teaspoon. For some reason, I can't find my 1/2 teaspoon little measure, so we're just going to estimate it. It's not going to be a big deal. There we go. Pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to just add a little dash of salt. It's only about 1/4 teaspoon, so just 2 of these. Make sure it don't go overboard. 1. 2. There we go. All good. Okay, now we'll put in this now. Now we're going to put about 50 grams. Now this is where we measure. Watch it so you don't go overboard. This stuff is quite potent. You'll be surprised with these alternatives. They can be quite potent. Yeah, we're getting close. Come on, where are we? 49. Come on, 50. Where are you? There we go, 50. 50 done. Okay, we'll put this in a second, but first we're going to put it in the peanut butter. Okay, so we're going to put some of this in, about 120 grams, or technically half a cup, and I kind of found that to be roughly 120, at least based on what the internet says. Let's hope that they're correct. But we're going to put about 120 grams of the peanut butter in. Okay, so got our spoon here. Zero it up. Do not want to stuff up the peanut butter. Actually, this is actually, I'll show you a different trick. It's called the reverse way. It's probably better for this recipe. I'm going to put that down there. Zero it out. Oh, I don't think you can see it. There we go. Zero it out. And now we scoop. You see? Tells you how much it's come off, okay? I'm going to put it in there like that. 77. I'll get my hands dirty a little bit. Oh, getting close there. A little bit more. Yeah, this is close enough. Considering the some is on my finger and on the spoon, that's all done there. So as you can see, 122, but it's probably going to be 120 as you can see. So 120 grams of the peanut butter in, and that's what I call the reverse way. Great way for doing things like sauces and jars and that sort of stuff. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so now what we'll do is put this in, the M&Ms. Now first, just for the sake of testing, let's actually see if this gives us 35 grams as the packet says. Let's see if the companies are being truthful to us. Actually, no. I did make a mistake. Those three can stay in there. They can live there and have a party. We're folding in these later. Okay, later. Not now. Oops, I don't know. I just had a mind blank and thought that it went in now. Don't know why. Don't blame me. Don't sue me. We'll be okay. So what we'll do now is we'll mix this in. As you can see here on the side, we've got the protein powder, we've got the coconut flour, and we've got the baking soda, powder, whatever. We're going to put these in after we've mixed this through. So first, we're going to mix this through. Break up the egg a little bit so you can mix it through. Now, you can just use good old elbow grease for this, as you can see, with the random M&Ms just swimming in there. Oops, that was on my bad. Lucky I realized before I tipped it all in. That would have been a blunder of the, well, not the blunder of the year, it would have been blunder of the day. Okay, so just mix it in. Get it all nice, easy to combine. Now, like I said, you can use elbow grease, or you can put this into like a food mixer. Honestly, maybe I could have done that. But honestly, I couldn't be bothered cleaning those food mixer things. So we're just going to be doing this. That really smells good. That really smells good. Raw eggs, peanut butter, and some sugar. Okay, so mix it. You're looking for that really combined consistency. Okay, kind of like a cookie batter, but like a very, there we go, show you what it mix. Like kind of looking for that thick kind of batter because we're going to start mixing in the powdery stuff. That's why you got to be careful not to mix in the too much coconut flour because it's very dry. Okay, it's like the Sahara Desert. It'll make your baking a pain in the butt. Okay, and then we'll have to use like extra milk. Which, who knows, maybe we'll have to anyway, we'll see. But this is pretty much done. This smells great. It smells like I could just eat it off the spoon. But no, do not do that. I'm not a fan of eating raw eggs, despite the fact that some people do it. I'm not a fan. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is put a little bit of this on top. Just a little bit, okay? 1/4 teaspoon, so 2 of these. Just sprinkle that on top. Like that. That's done. That's done there. So what we're going to do now is put in the coconut flour. About 30 grams or 2 tablespoons. That's just my estimation. So let's see. It's technically 2 tablespoons. Let's see if it's 30 grams. Let's see if Alexa got this right. Now you can use any coconut flour you want. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go in there. Make sure we don't tip any of this down. So I might actually open up this packet a bit more. Hope for the best, okay? That's a little bit more than a tablespoon, so I'm going to consider that when I put in the next one. No, close. See, it's a little bit less, but that's because we had a little bit more on the other one. And we do not want to overdo this. We can always add more. And I was wrong. Okay, 15 grams. Okay, it's 15 grams, 2 tablespoons of the coconut flour. Okay, so I'll have to adjust that on the recipe, but that's all good. That is all good. Now onto the protein powder. Like I said, I usually use the INC Dynamic protein. This is not, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but I usually use the INC Dynamic protein. But I'm going to try using the casein today because casein has been told to be better for baking. So I was like, it can't make it worse. It can only make it the same. It won't make it worse. And it can only make it maybe better. So some vanilla. Let's put that on top. I'm going to fold all this in. Okay, let's put it on top. Okay, just spank it on the top there to get out all the powder. You don't want to miss out too much of the protein goodness. Okay, so what we're going to do now is mix this through and hope that it doesn't get too dry, but if it does, don't worry, it's always easier to make it wetter by adding in some milk. Now, with this, what you want to note is it's going to feel like it's dry for ages. Like, what is it doing? It's not mixing. What on earth is happening? Don't worry. Okay, don't worry. Just keep mixing. It will combine, as you can see, it's starting to combine. Let's use some of that elbow grease. La la la, mix it all. Okay. So it should be, from the recipe when I read it, it said it should be slightly sticky but not mushy. That's kind of close to what we're getting here soon. Like, I'll see how I feel about it. Whether I add a bit of extra dash of milk, just a little dash of milk or not, but honestly, I think it'll be fine. I don't want to add any extra ingredients if I can avoid it because I want to try and do the recipe exactly how it is, especially since I'm using a different protein today. So knowing how it's going to come out could be different. That's the thing with these recipes is I'm showing you how to make this, but realize that the different protein you use will make a difference. If you just slightly alter something, it will be different. If you use a different oven, it will be slightly different. So you've got to adjust to yourself as well. So the first batch, I hope for your sake, is as good as mine was. But I'm just saying, you may have to experiment with it. And this is honestly looking pretty good. To the touch, perfect. I like this. We've got the right amount in there, as you can see. Rolls around nicely. So what I'm going to do now is flatten this down a bit. And now we add the special ingredients, the M&Ms. Look at that. Who doesn't like M&Ms? So it's supposed to be all of them in there. Now you can fold them in now, or you can just press them into the thing later. I'm just going to do it now because I can't be bothered going to go back and pressing it all in. So I'm going to throw in the packet now. Okay, let's mix this through. Basically just making sure that the M&Ms are smack bang in there. Remember, M&Ms are coloured, so because of that, there might be some colour that leaches into the batter. But come on, bacon doesn't need to be perfect. You're not cooking for a product on the shelf, okay? You're cooking for your family, for your friends, or for yourself, okay? I myself will probably be eating this whole batch by the end of the day. Maybe while I'm watching the NBA later, okay? I'll be watching Steph Curry beat the 3-point record, and maybe I'll be eating some of these cookies while doing so. Oh, there's one that slid there. So yeah, this will work out your forearms after a while, especially as this dough becomes more thick, but just keep doing it. Trust me, it makes it so much better. This batter is looking perfect, okay? This cookie dough is looking perfect. You could probably eat it like this, but like I said, we ain't about eating raw eggs on this channel. It's just not what I'm about. I used to do it when I used to, because I was really into Rocky, and I used to when I was watching Rocky when I was like around, my teen years, and I was fully into it. It was inspiring for me. Great movie, still love it. But then he was like, he was consuming raw eggs. So before my runs, I literally think that consuming raw eggs would be the thing to do. So I did that for a few times. It's not that pleasant. But yeah, this is looking pretty good, okay? I think we're going to start scooping this out. That's what you're kind of looking for. See? It's like cookie dough. It's basically like cookie dough. It's actually come out really, really nicely with this protein. So I'm happy, okay? So what we're gonna do now is grab a tray, use the scooper, scoop out about 12 to 14 cookies, and then we're good to go. Okay, so we just grab a tray, a pretty decent sized tray, because we're gonna just layer it all on there, okay? It's like a brick layer, just layer it all on there. We'll get a baking sheet and put it on here, but as we're doing so, you can't see it, but underneath here is an oven that is preheating to 150 degrees Celsius, fan forced, or you can do 180 degrees Celsius if you're using the normal one, okay? But I'm using fan forced, and this oven can be a bit finicky, can be a bit strong, so I'm gonna be going 150 because you do not want to overcook these cookies. Cookies, no, do not overcook them. Okay, so we've got our sheet here, we've got our dough here. Well, not dough, I keep saying dough. We've got our batter, okay? We've got our cookie batter there, right there in frame. And we're just gonna use one of these. Okay, now, truth be told, I bought these after I last prepared my cookies. So it's gonna be interesting using these and see if they actually work out well. I usually use a spoon, but let's see how we go. I'm gonna layer them on there, but we're also gonna have to press them down a bit, but I'll show you. Okay, so. Oh. There we go, you can have a hat. Okay, stuff that one up. Doesn't matter, it's all good. Okay, so just keep going like that. Oh, that's pretty good, I'm liking this. They keep moving though, but I'm liking it. So we'll do that for all of them, and then I'll show you what it looks like.
A few moments later.
Okay, there you go. You didn't have to watch me do all that, but as you can see, they're all layered, and I got exactly 12 as I expected, so that's awesome. So I'm gonna grab a spoon now. Yeah, got my trusty little tiny spoon. For some reason I got a tiny one. And I'm just gonna press it down, okay? That. They're not gonna spread, they're gonna puff up more than anything, so you wanna push them down, okay? So you wanna do this. Try not to put a hole through it or get it too sticky. You can kind of play around with it, make it a bit more better as a cookie, okay? It doesn't really matter. This. To make it a bit bigger. As you can see, that one's way bigger than these ones. For some reason, I'm doing that. So, yeah, do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Just go through. And again, with the power of YouTube, or the magic of YouTube. And there we go. Okay, all flattened, all ready. As you can see, they kind of look like mini versions of those Subway cookies you can get. What is it? I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, they're like M&M cookies basically, but a higher protein version, bit lower in calories, gonna be awesome. So what we're doing, like I said, preheating the oven to 150, which it is, all ready to go. Now I'm gonna cook these for about, they say 5 to 6 minutes, but because I know my oven's a bit more strong sometimes, and just because I do not want to overcook these cookies because then they will taste horrible, especially because then they're different to the typical cookies. They don't have all that same ingredients. They're a bit more erratic with the way they cook. I'm gonna cook this for about 4 to 4.5 minutes, and then we're gonna see how we go. Okay, so we'll put them in there, go from there.
One hour later.
Okay, so there we go. Okay, cookies are all done. Now the thing that you want to know is the sides should be dry and not quite crispy, but the inside will still seem pretty doughy. That's okay, because when they dry off, you don't want to overcook them. Now, what I did notice was, I think the recipe might have called for fan force 180, because on 150, they were still just too wet after 5 to 6 minutes. So I had to wait a bit more. So let's hope, fingers crossed, good, fingers crossed that they're not overcooked. But yeah, we'll let them dry now, Let them cool now, just in a pan like that, for about 3 minutes, and then we'll put them on here to cool for another 5, and then we're done. Do a taste test, go from there. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes, so what I'm going to do now, transfer them to cool there. Now you can cool them just by themselves on there like that, it's up to you, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to leave them like this, just for the sake of not having as much mess. So you do what you want if you've got extra time, but I'm going to leave that. We're going to leave it a bit. When they cool off, we'll do a taste test, go from there.
Many hours later.
Okay, and just so you can see what they look like up close, because I realized, why am I showing you from distance? This is what they look like. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, can't wait to taste them. Okay, here we go. That's the batch done, okay? As you can see, quite a decent small plateful. Okay, so it's a good handful of cookies, as you can see. Smells good. You can really smell the peanut butter. That seems to be quite the strong smell from the cookies. So I honestly think it's going to taste like a very peanut buttery, chocolatey cookie. Chocolate from the M&Ms, obviously. But yeah, super keen to try it. Like I said, had a bit of a, not a mishap, but the timing of the cooking was a bit off because I think the recipe called for 180 and I didn't specify fan force. So I was assuming then that fan force, we reduce. It just took a bit longer to cook. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, like I said, that they're not overcooked, but they don't feel overcooked. And they still have that, I don't know what the word is for, but they don't seem too overcooked. But the thing you want to be careful with these cookies is, protein-based cookies are not like your traditional cookies. They're never going to taste as good as normal cookies. That's the thing you got to understand first of all when you try these. They're also going to have a different texture to typical cookies because they don't have the same ingredients. So you can't expect it. Sometimes people say it's a bit cakey, things like that. We just want to aim for something that's at least 70, maybe 80% as good or can satisfy that craving. And like I said, these don't need to replace all those normal Christmas cookies you'll be eating, all those goods and treats. It's just something you can add into the mix for something more macro friendly so you can at least hit some more protein intake during the festive season. But with all that said, okay, these smell good. Let's give it a taste test and I'll tell you what the macros are. Okay, so we'll try this one first. Texture wise, they're not as bad. I've had some worse protein cookies before. It gets better after a couple of mouthfuls. Not too bad.
Oh, these cookies! I gotta get the recipe from Les.
I think using normal choc chips would have maybe made them a bit nicer than the original recipe was choc chips, just because it probably would have infused that chocolatey flavor and it would have melted nice like in your mouth, and you'd get that chocolatey hit, whereas with the M&Ms it's a bit different. But no, I was wrong. The peanut butter is not overpowering. It's got like a bit of peanut butteriness, got a bit of that vanilla flavor, and you get a bit of that M&Ms. Like I said, choc chips probably taste better, but I wanted to go with colour because it's Christmas. If you wanted a bit of a sweeter cookie, you can add more, okay, more stevia. I think you could do with more stevia here and you'd be perfectly fine. With the other protein powder, it's actually not too bad. Slightly different. Like I said, slightly different to what I'm used to. But not in a bad way. Actually, this, I'll take a bite of one and I'll show you the inside. Which one will I go for? Let's go for this one. I hope you can see that. I don't know if it's gone blurry. Texture wise, all things considered, considering it's a protein cookie, it's actually not bad. Like I said, maybe just more sweetness I could have added. I went with 50 grams, maybe I could have done more. But if you can work out the sweetness factor, you could maybe even add that extra egg yolk to add some extra flavor to it as well. I think you'd be onto something that's very, very close to being like a normal cookie. See? You got that chocolatey M&Mness, but it doesn't melt as much as normal chocolate, so you don't get that you bite into when you get a hit of chocolate, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think with normal choc chips, it'll be more of a flavor infusion, if that's the right word for it. But these are not bad at all. They're actually surprisingly good texture-wise.
Put that cookie down! Now!
Now, let's, and honestly, this will go great. I was just thinking, this will go great with like a glass of milk. Glass of chocolate milk. Now we're on to something. Okay, so this is the breakdown of these protein cookies. Okay, so for these protein M&M cookies, Christmas cookies, whatever you want to call it, per cookie, so keep in mind that there's 12 of them there. Per cookie, it is 107 calories, not much at all, 6 grams of protein, 6-ish grams of fat, about 4.5 grams of carbs. Okay, so if we're talking technical, 6 grams of protein, 6.5 grams of fat, 4.5 grams of carbs. So if you were to, like, let's say, want to hit that 20 grams of protein or close to it, you could have 3 of these cookies for roughly 330 calories. That's not too bad. Or if you really wanted to, I mean, you could eat the whole batch. I'll probably be finishing this later. But you probably don't want that anyway. You're probably just doing this so you can add it into the platter, so you can have a bit of macro friendliness in amongst all the indulgence you'll be having for Christmas. Like I said, these will never take the place of normal cookies, okay? Don't get me wrong, okay? I'll be eating normal cookies this Christmas. It's more so, they're a good alternative for when you just want something a bit more macro friendly. But yeah, for those macros, and considering the texture is actually not too bad, and like I said, I used M&Ms, you can use other things, you can use normal chocolate chips, it'll probably taste better, and you could add more sweetness if you want a bit more sweetness. These are actually quite good. The texture came out nicely. I don't think they overcooked them. Like I said, the texture was pretty good, so I don't think it's overcooked. But keep in mind the stuff that I mentioned before about times. And every oven's different, so you got to consider that as well. So now what I want you to do is try these yourself, okay? Try these yourself before Christmas, so you make sure that you get the right touch right before Christmas. You don't want to do a bad batch for Christmas. So try them this week. Get it all ready. If you like them, then make them again for Christmas. And let me know what you think. Like, just send me a message or just comment below and let me know if you enjoyed them. And yeah, what I want you to know below though is, drop a comment below and let me know, what are you looking forward to most for Christmas? What treat are you looking forward to most on Christmas? If you haven't already done so, remember to subscribe to the channel so you can stay in the loop with all the videos I release, whether it's educational videos on nutrition, or whether it's recipe videos like this, where I make something like cookies or other macro-friendly foods. And of course, hit that bell so you can stay in the loop and know exactly when I release a video. Hit the like button if you enjoy cookies. That means you have to like it. I know you enjoy cookies. Until next time, see you later. Have a great Christmas. Have a great New Year's, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.